Okay, so you probably click on this video thinking, 11 ways not to be lazy? If there were all those ways of not being lazy, then why the hell am I with my phone at 3 a.m. watching a handsome black guy on YouTube talk about ways of not being lazy when I should be doing at least one of them? Well, first of all, because you haven't seen this video. For second of all, if you thought I was handsome, I see you. And now here are 11 ways in not being lazy. Now the first step to not being lazy is making sure you're actually dealing with laziness in the first place. Okay, so who here is responsible for the laziness of Bernard? Lack of motivation. Is that you? I didn't do it, Inspector. I'm innocent. Okay. Laziness. Is that you? I didn't do it, Inspector. I'm innocent. Fatigue. Is that you? I did it, Inspector, and I enjoyed every single moment of it. That guy went to bed at freaking 3 a.m. scrolling on Instagram. What did you expect me to do? Of course I was gonna do it. Get up. I did it. What you gonna do about it? Now, sometimes the main reason why you're lazy is probably because you're suffering from something called brain fog, lack of motivation, fatigue, or even underlying health issues. And you might actually be accusing the wrong offender. The second step is make your goals manageable. Now, a big reason why most of us struggle with laziness is probably because the task is so magnanimous to the point where just looking at the task automatically drains the life out of you. But the trick is when you actually break those goals down, they stop looking like things that are impossible. They actually become less daunting. And like a popular African proverb would say, the easiest way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. Like scripting this video, for example, before I actually put pen to paper, okay, not really pen to paper, but fingers to keyboard, I was procrastinating a lot. Yeah, I was seriously struggling with laziness. I'm never gonna lie. But I decided to break it down, one point at a time. And here we are talking to a beautiful and an amazing person with a kinda completed script. Okay, it was not as perfect as I wanted it, but that leads us to the next point. Be okay with imperfect. Now, if you're like me, you might have ridiculously high standards sometimes, and that standard keeps you up at night thinking instead of actually doing what needs to be done to get it done. And this way of thinking actually leads to a form of paralysis, and I'm actually not even joking. And psychologists would call this maladaptive perfectionism, where you're so engrossed in that image of perfection that you are paralyzed to actually taking action on that object that you want to perfect. That's why it's called maladaptive, yeah? And I'm sure you're probably wondering, why the hell am I on a lab coat? Good question. First of all, because I'm a doctor, and second of all, because it makes me feel smart. Okay, I'm actually just joking. Okay, the first part is actually true. I'm actually a doctor, but I'm not a psychologist. I just like to do a lot of research in psychology. So yeah, but by the way, and one way to actually overcome this is to accept the fact that nothing on this planet is ever going to be perfect. Maybe except God, and he's in heaven. And switch your mind from the standpoint of focusing on the end result into the standpoint of focusing on the progress. Because what matters is not the destination, but who you become on the journey to your destination. I don't know if I'm making sense. And this problem actually affected me in a lot of ways, like even starting with this YouTube channel. For a long time, I had the idea of wanting to start a YouTube channel, but the thoughts of, oh my goodness, the videos are going to be crappy. I want a perfect video. I need the perfect thumbnail. I want to write the perfect script. What, yada, yada, yada. And I mean, years passed and I still didn't have a YouTube channel until I watched a video on YouTube that, okay, I can't remember the exact video, but it went along the lines of start messy. It's going to be messy at first, but the point is, the more you put in the reps, the better you get and the closer you are to actually getting to your standard of perfection. But if you're so focused on the end result and not on the progress, you won't really make a lot of progress. Okay, I don't know, that sounded like it rhymes a bit. I don't know. Yeah, tell me what you guys think in the comments. Okay, this quote is getting a bit hot, so I'm just gonna. Now the next point is use positive self-talk. Now the most important voice in your life is not the voice of your parents, it's not the voice of your friends, it's not the voice of your pastor or your mentor, but the voice you use to talk to yourself in your head. Sometimes you allow negative self-talk paralyze us into inaction. That voice that tells you that you're not good enough, that voice that tells you you're an imposter. And sometimes the underlying reason why we might feel lazy is because on a subconscious level, we have actually believed those voices. Maybe you told yourself that that thing will never work, or you'll never be able to get that girl. The more you actually allow those negative voices to fester in your mind, those things end up becoming self-fulfilling prophecies. Because you believe what those negative voices say, you may not really put in the effort to change the narrative, and hence you might be feeling lazy to actually do anything because deep down you believe that no matter what you do, it's not gonna work. So why bother trying? Now, a good way to solve this is instead of actually shooting yourself on the foot, you can reverse that trend by speaking positive things to yourself. Instead of saying it can never be me, you can try saying, why not me? People that are doing it don't have two heads, do they? That's the same thing my mother told me when I was in high school, actually. And it's funny I'm actually saying this, but the truth is that they actually don't have two heads. There's a really popular scripture that says the power of life and death is in your tongue. Now, the next point is to create an action plan. Planning how you actually get something done makes doing that thing a lot easier. And there's a really popular quote by Brian Tracy which says, every minute spent in planning saves you 10 minutes in execution. Think about that. That is literally 1,000% return in investment. And to give you more context, imagine you invested $100 and got a return of $1,000. That is actually the kind of return on investment planning actually gives you in execution. Good example is this, like when I was in college, what really helped me to actually study consistently is because I had some kind of plan of what I wanted to study per time. Now, when you actually have a study plan, you don't really need to think about, I want to study. What am I going to study? But when you have a plan, you just know, I want to study this. The moment I'm on my chair, I know exactly what topic I'm going to open to. It actually helps you to decrease something called decision fatigue. And when you decrease this decision fatigue, you are actually eliminating in your own way that reduces efficiency in execution. Now, the next point is recognize your accomplishments. Now, have you ever wondered why in some organizations they have something called Employee of the Month? Why is that? Because they want to motivate the employees to work more so they can milk them over their time. Now that got dark. But in the same way, you are actually both the employee and the CEO of your own life. And one of the ways you can actually motivate yourself when you're feeling lazy is to actually recognize the things that you've actually accomplished. Looking back and saying, oh wait, I did that. I'm not as lazy as I think I am actually. And when you begin to think that way, it actually helps you shift your self-image to be able to do the things that you're actually feeling lazy about. Actually, this actually reminds me of a story. A grandfather was talking to his grandson, and his grandson told him that, oh grandpa, I feel like there are two wolves inside of me. One wolf, which we're going to call the bad wolf, has all of the greed, the envy, the hate, and all the bad things you could think about, trying to make him do the bad things. And the other wolf is the good wolf, and that has all of the love, the kindness, the patience, the goodness, all the good things you could think about. And he told his grandfather that these two wolves are always fighting inside of me. Which wolf is going to win? And guess what the grandfather said? The wolf you feed. Now that's the same way with our feelings of laziness. When you actually recognize your accomplishments, you are actually feeding the wolf that is actually pro work, effort, and discipline to actually get you to do what needs to be done when you need to do it. Now, another way to actually overcome laziness is asking for help. I know asking for help is going to make you look like a little beautiful person, but the thing is that we might actually be looking at asking for help in the wrong way. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of you being a B-word, but actually a sign of strength, because it takes a lot of strength to bring yourself to the point of humility to actually accept help. And sometimes some things might be so difficult for us to handle that the natural reaction to that thing is to actually feel lazy about it and procrastinate. But when you actually ask for help, it makes doing that thing a lot easier. And there's a really popular saying, if you want to go fast, walk alone. But if you want to go far, walk together. The next point is to avoid distractions. I know, this sounds like a no-brainer actually. But this needs to be said, especially the distractions that have to do with social media and the internet in general. Now, those 85% of your distractions in the 21st century are most likely from there. With the slightest feelings of laziness, we find ourselves scrolling on TikTok, Instagram, going on a doom scrolling spree when we should be doing something important. Distractions by itself is not really a cause of laziness, but they actually tend to make you stay in a lazy state longer. Now, why is this? Now, distractions act as alternatives to what you need to do. Instead of studying from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., you're scrolling away, distracted by Instagram, and watching dances instead of making advances, making you feel like your progress is collapsing, and then you feel like, oh my god, I'm not advancing. Not advancing. Okay. I think I'm gonna Now, I want you to imagine a situation where you only had two options. Either you face severe and excruciating boredom, or you do the task that you're feeling lazy about. Now, 9 times out of 10, if you were really bored, you would actually find yourself doing what you need to do. Now, distractors like Instagram or TikTok, they serve as an alternative. So instead of dealing with boredom, you have an alternative, which is to scroll on your phone. And the thing is that most humans, we are easily drawn to the path of least resistance, and hence the distraction pandemic. Now, the next step to not being lazy is actually make the activity fun. You could actually create mini challenges for yourself. Like, I wonder how fast I could actually finish this topic. Or I wonder how fast I actually could write this essay. Or I actually wonder how fast I'm actually going to film this video. Currently I've been filming for like 30 minutes now. So, but yeah, we'll see how this goes. But yeah, so you can actually create challenges for yourself to make the task more fun. And on the flip side, if the activity is just so boring that you cannot really figure out a way on how you can actually create a challenge, that leads us to the next step, which is reward yourself. After completing that task that you're finding really difficult, you could actually reward yourself with something you find enjoyable. Like maybe you listening to an episode of your favorite podcast or even watching an episode of your favorite series. These can actually serve as rewards that can actually help, first of all, motivate you to start, and it also helps to motivate you to keep you going, because it's when you finish that activity that you get to get the goodies, the sweet goodies. I know this tip actually kind of sounds like a carrot on a stick, but I mean, if it gets the job done. And that leads us to the next step, which is exercise. Yeah, being more active doesn't just give you better cardiovascular health and reduces your chances of suffering a heart attack. It also helps you to reduce the chance of actually suffering from laziness. Now, when you exercise regularly, that actually increases your energy levels, yeah? And most times, the reason why we're lazy sometimes is because we might actually be feeling tired, yeah? You're not really feeling the energy to just do it, yeah? I mean, I don't know about you, but like sometimes you could just be way out of it. You just don't want to do anything. You just want to like lie on your bed. I mean, it's not even due to fatigue. You just don't feel like doing nothing, bruh. But when you exercise regularly, which I actually started doing recently, okay, this is a bit TMI, but yeah, I noticed that my energy levels have actually really gone up. Although, point taken, like the moment you finish working out, you're gonna feel sore a bit, but over time it pays off because your energy levels overall will increase by the time you heal and recover. The energy reserve you have will not be at the same level as it used to be before you actually started working out. And like they always say, an exercise a day keeps the laziness away. Okay, I mean, they don't always say this. I mean, I just made that up, right? Like literally right now. But I mean, I think you get it, yeah? Our wisdom nugget for the week. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. And guys, if you like this video, please don't forget to hit the like button. It helps the algorithm. And subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. And if any point really resonated with you, I would love to see what you think about it in the comment section. Guys, there's another really big issue that plagues all of us, which is self-discipline. And actually, it's because of the problems of self-discipline that we actually might have a lot of problems with laziness. And if you want to learn more about how to become more disciplined, I think this video is going to be really helpful for you. And like always, guys, remember to always keep it real. Bye, guys. Click on the video. What are you still doing?